Welcome to Club ToastEd's ToastEdopedia section called The Way to Accredited Speaker. We're here to get a better understanding of what the Toastmaster Accredited Speaker designation is all about. What's involved in attaining the accreditation? Today, my guest is Thomas Iland. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you for having me, Marcus.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, you are an accredited speaker. You've been down the path to getting the accredited speaker designation. I guess we should start off by saying, what is an accredited speaker designation?
Certainly. So the Toastmasters Accredited Speaker designation is designed for professional speakers in the Toastmasters organization who have mastered the art of public speaking and apply it to a particular trade or line of work. So in my case, I'm a person with autism. I'm on the autism spectrum, and I give speeches, keynotes, and workshops around the country in various conferences and educational environments. And I talk about my life and what people can do to help other people on the autism spectrum. So that's like my niche, if you will. And what I have over the years developed topics and my message to audiences. And for the accredited speaker designation, I had to do several speeches theming around my life and autism, and basically overcome a lot of obstacles on personal and professional levels. So the accredited speaker designation is designed for, I think, the cream of the crop when it comes to professional speaking.
Now, I've noticed that you've got the accredited speaker pin on your lapel.
Yes, I do.
And you've also got it up in the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
Yes, we get backgrounds as accredited speakers.
Nice. Now, I'm curious, when you get designated as an accredited speaker, how long does it take for them to give you the pin? Do they give it to you right there, or do they mail it to you? That's interesting.
Well, interestingly enough, I got mine in 2019. I was in Denver, Colorado at the Toastmasters International Convention. It was the last conference before they started to go virtual because of COVID. And I gave my speech for level 2 in front of a panel of judges and an audience of about 1,000 people. And within a few hours of that speech, I knew whether or not, or I would know whether or not I would make it and would receive my accredited speaker pin, and also a name tag. You get a magnetized, customized name tag when you get the Toastmasters accredited speaker designation. So I got this in the name tag within a few hours of delivering my speech and knowing that I had made it.
Nice, cool. I like that. It looks really nice. Now, out of curiosity, what motivated you to even think of becoming an accredited speaker?
I feel like I'm wired to overcome obstacles, and people on the autism spectrum in particular face a lot of obstacles, particularly on a social communication level. Like, the person you're seeing and hearing right now is not the same person from about 15, 20 years ago. I couldn't start a conversation or keep a conversation going or get up in front of an audience to save my life. And I started to let my guard down, started to tell my story a little bit, even left a career in accounting behind to start doing professional speaking. And autism is inherently a disability or a disorder, or whatever you might want to call it, of socializing and communicating. So I want to show myself, my peers, and the world that if someone with a social communication disorder can master the art of public speaking, which is essentially socializing and communicating, imagine what kind of barriers you can break and what kind of ceilings you can shatter. So I wanted to really lead by example, not just talk the talk, but also walk the walk. That's why I wanted to be an accredited speaker.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know. I remember years ago when I first started in public speaking, I got up on stage, I was sweating, I was nervous. What am I doing here? It takes a while to overcome that. And some people have farther degrees of this stress than others. But it's great to see someone like yourself with autism overcome it, because that's a huge leap, I would imagine, depending on where you started. And once you get, it's a slow progress, but once you get to where you are and you look back and you think, my heavens, what a remarkable change. That's great. That's fantastic. So maybe you can give the audience an idea of what the requirements are to get an accredited speaker designation.
So it's my understanding that to get an accredited speaker designation, you have to be a member of a Toastmasters club. That's a paid member of Toastmasters club in good standing. And They had the legacy path with the competent communication, the competent leader manuals. You had to be at least an advanced communicator bronze. So you'd have to complete at least 10 CC speeches and 10 advanced manual speeches. Nowadays, in the pathways environment, I believe you have to have completed at least one path. So get to level 5 in at least one path, and you can start going forward with the accredited speaker in respect to those prerequisites. Then you have to document your speaking engagements, and part of the application process, or at least level 1 of the application process, requires you document 25 speaking engagements. And these speaking engagements have a couple of qualities to them that need to be noted in the application. First, I call it the 20-20 rule. Your speeches need to be to at least 20 non-Toastmasters. So don't go to a bunch of Toastmasters clubs and do speeches there for your accredited speaker designation, because speaking to Toastmasters isn't going to count. So 20 non-Toastmasters for at least 20 minutes. So that's the 20-20 rule, I like to call it. At least 20 non-Toastmasters for at least 20 minutes. That can be counted as a speech. Now, you can't just do free speeches all the time. You need to have at least 15 of those 25 speeches be paid, because this is professional paid speakers. And if possible, have it be like more than $1 or something. You want to show really good rates that you earned a lot of good money for giving speeches for at least 20 minutes, because the people who are judging your application are going to want to see that you're in demand, that you're being paid well, and that you're speaking on a topic, and to not just the same client too. You don't want to have the same client multiple times. You want to have a good variety of clients. So 20-20 rule, that's 20 minutes to at least 20 non-Toastmasters, show at least 15 of 25 paid engagements, and have a variety of clients. That's another step in the process. Finally, the completion of level 1 is you record yourself. I suggest getting a videographer or a professional camera person and sound person for this. Record yourself giving a speech to a live audience, and have the audience reaction be captured, and have a copy of your speech included, or any props you might use. Make sure to submit those to the level 1 judges. And there's a lot of criteria to this video. Like it cannot be edited. So you can't like go to your videographer and like edit that out. The judges want to see the raw footage in a YouTube video. So you give them a YouTube link and give them access to that video, unedited, raw footage, and make sure that somebody introduces you before you give that particular workshop. So there's a lot of criteria to the speech, from the prerequisites in the organization to documenting your speaking engagements to having somebody video you, raw footage. And then if you do well with all that, you pass level 1 and go to level 2.
Nice.
And level 2 involves going and speaking at a Toastmasters International convention in front of a panel of judges, and they will decide if you fit the designation.
Someone wants to become an accredited speaker, what steps would you recommend that they take when it comes to things like practicing, or even through the application process?
Well, as we have in Toastmasters International, there's mentoring for when we onboard a new member into a club. Well, the accredited speaker program has mentors as well, people that have gotten the designation and are sharing their wisdom and allowing people or applicants to practice. And I had, believe it or not, 3 mentors during the course of my application process. I had one, Maurice Domino, who I'd meet with in private. I would go over like the blocking, the staging, and my message. I had Terry Mayfield, who has since retired from Toastmasters International, and I worked with him a little bit on wording and getting my message cemented. And finally, I had Ellie Kay. She was in improv Toastmasters with me for a while. She gave me some last few words of wisdom right before I went up on stage in Denver at level 2. She basically told me, like, the audience loves you. You have what it takes. Go up there and say what you have to say.
Nice.
So, it really came together. And I have a picture with all 3 of them at the stage where I got the designation. So it really pays off to have a mentor for the accredited speaker designation, and they won't charge you. It's free to get an accredited speaker mentor. You just reach out and make the arrangements and go get that designation.
Now, the mentors are free, but you yourself in your career, just out of curiosity, have you ever had coaches, like paid coaches that assist you in your presentations?
I've had a couple of speaking classes and a few people that I've consulted with or had some talks with as to how would you suggest I do da 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 da, or had somebody do a reel for me. Like I was on stage, they recorded me and put it into like an advertising, a little advertising video that I could send to potential clients.
Awesome. That's cool. That's awesome. So how rigorous would you say the selection process for the accredited speaker was? Like what was your competition like, basically?
Now, just to be clear, the accredited speaker program, unlike the World Championship of Public Speaking, is not necessarily a competition. The only person I was competing against throughout this entire process was myself. Am I better than I was after my previous submission, or am I learning from this experience compared to so many months or years ago? So the day that I was in Denver, there were five other people going for the accredited speaker designation. I wasn't in competition with them. Each speech was judged separately, not against or compared to others. So it's not really a competition, the accredited speaker process, unless it's about you competing, or you consider you competing with yourself a competition. But it is very rigorous. The judges are very detail oriented, and they have criteria that they're going to be looking at. And I think you have to get at least 3 of the 4 judges approval, or say, yes, this is worthy of an accredited speaker. And you won't necessarily know who said yes and who said no to you. Yeah. So you can request the judges' ballots or anything. But yes, this is a very rigorous process designed for the best of the best.
Looking back at your process to become an accredited speaker, what were some of the hurdles that you had to overcome to be selected as an accredited speaker?
So I remember my first level 1 video submission was totally amateur. I was in this small room. There were only about 7 people in the audience, and the videographer did not capture their reaction. It was too focused on me, and it was clearly not what an accredited speaker would sound like, or what kind of caliber an accredited speaker would give off. But thankfully, the judges did note their feedback and gave it to me. So they said, here's where you're really good. Just like our evaluations in Toastmasters clubs, they said, here's where your speech was really good, but you need to improve da 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 da. So for example, show us a more clear message, something that makes you unique. What does Tom Iland offer that nobody else does? And have that show through in your speeches. So that was number 1, the level 1 feedback and getting that information, and then having to kind of start all over again, because you submit in level 1. If you don't pass, you have to get 25 new speaking engagements, send a whole new video submission to the judges, almost like back to square one. And I submitted a second video submission only to find out that the speech was missing a clear beginning, middle, and end. Sometimes you get so stuck in the details, you miss the basics. And they shot it back to me again, said, fix this to have a beginning, middle, and end. And I had to scramble to make that happen again. So third time was the charm for me to get through to level 1.
Wow, that's incredible. I was going to ask, because some people go through it and they get it the first time. Others go through it a couple of times. But I think is there a limit on how many times you can try before you're disqualified from trying again?
Good question. And for level 1, you can attempt as many times as you want until you get to level 2. Once you get to level 2, you will have 3 attempts to speak at a convention in front of an audience and get judged. And it's kind of like baseball, 3 strikes, you're out, but not permanently. If you don't pass level 2 after 3 attempts, gotta go back to level 1, start all over again, and get past level 1 before you can get to level 2 again after 3 attempts.
Well, at least they give you an opportunity to retry. So that's good. That's cool.
Judges are also accredited speakers. So they're going to tell you what you need to know and how you need to improve if you're going to get up to their level.
That's amazing. Any recommendations or tips for aspiring accredited speakers out there?
Really solidify a message that is true and unique to you. What is something that you offer that nobody else does? Why are you in demand? And really cement and hammer out your message to the world and have that come across in your speeches. And when you do make it, know that it's something to treasure and be proud of. And I think that's something that my district, I'm in District 52 in Southern California, they see me as kind of a legend to have made it this far under the circumstances or the cards that I've been dealt. So know that the journey is most certainly worth it. And it's a learning journey at that. So who you become along the way, the wisdom that you gather, the connections that you make, that makes it worthwhile.
That's incredible. How has the accredited speaker designation helped you in your speaking career?
It's definitely helped me justify higher rates because I can charge more money and say, there are only 89 accredited speakers in the world and I'm the only one with autism. So let's take that into consideration. I also like to think of it as a way for me to take my life to a whole new level. So yeah, I've done the accredited speaker now. I have a tendency to ask, all right, so what's next? Or how can I one up this? So I've done the accredited speaker and I really, really want to see if I can get into the World Championship of Public Speaking, given everything that's happening. I think one of the kind of caveats I'm facing is as I speak at contests in my district, it's like, oh, wait a minute, he's an accredited speaker. He's already good. Let's focus on people who maybe aren't so high or give someone else a chance. So that's, it may or may not be a way of shooting myself in the foot. So, but I'm focusing on other endeavors. Like I didn't compete this year. I'm actually in the process of looking to finish a full Ironman triathlon. And no one with autism has ever finished a full Ironman triathlon. So I'm looking for other ceilings to shatter and barriers to break.
Thomas, you do it. I'm rooting for you, man. I know you're going to do it.
Thank you.
Incredible. That's incredible. Actually, I'm curious because you said there's 89 speakers. What number are you in the list of accredited speakers?
I'm number 86.
Okay.
86.
Wow. So it hasn't been too long. That's amazing. That's cool. Well, thank you, Thomas, for giving us your time and explaining this to you. There's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, who either haven't heard of accredited speaker or who would like to become an accredited speaker. But either way, I think your information for us today has really given us a wider view on that. So thank you. Thank you for giving us your time.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to share my wisdom, and I am available for Toastmasters accredited speaker mentoring. So you can reach out to me. I'll drop my email address in the chat here. It's tom@thomasiland.com. You can reach out to me regardless of where you are in the world. I have mentored people like in the Middle East and Eastern Europe as to their application process or what kind of speeches qualify for level 1. So that's something that I do for my fellow Toastmasters. And if you would like to check out my website, I'm at cometolifecoaching.com. I'm putting that in the chat here. Cometolifecoaching.com. That's based on the title of my book, Come to Life, Your Guide to Self-Discovery. I have to turn off my background for this one. Here it goes. No background. There it is.
There we go.
Come to Life.
Awesome. Okay, good. Splendid. And are you on LinkedIn? How, if people want to get in touch with you, can they also connect with you on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn, and this is the title of my LinkedIn. In addition to being an accredited speaker, I'm a certified human potential coach. It's a course that I took online through the Human Potential Institute just before the pandemic hit. So I got certified, and I've been doing virtual coaching for young men on the autism spectrum who want to find love in relationships or live independently, pursue further education, obtain and retain employment. And so young men with autism are my prime clientele, but I also help people that are looking to better their professions in light of the Great Resignation, when people leaving their jobs because they're overworked and undervalued. Because I was in accounting and I realized how overworked and undervalued I was there. So now I work for myself and I'm helping other people really find what makes their heart sing.
Incredible. It's always good when you're helping other people. And I know that's a great theme in Toastmasters that they try to teach us as we start off as new Toastmasters. Even if you've been Toastmasters for 20, 25 years, I hear this resonating theme. It's all about reaching out to help people, and evaluations and feedback are just one of those ways, or mentoring another way of putting our hand out there to help people. So thanks.
Yeah,
Great.
very much so. And I think with this pandemic, even though we've kind of gotten a little further apart, social distancing, physical distancing, we've also been able to connect with more people in the world and through these virtual environments. So I think that's brought us closer together and really bonded us in ways we didn't think possible.
Yeah. Thanks, Thomas, once again for coming on, and have yourself a wonderful day.
You do the same, Marcus. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Take care.
Bye.